Welcome to the Double Dribble Podcast with Dubin and Dakil. That's Jared Dubin, author of Last Night in Basketball. Make sure you're subscribed to his newsletter, getting all his great stuff. He absolutely kills it, folks. So make sure you're a subscriber. I will get that word out. It's eventually. Be a subscriber to Last Night in Basketball. Make sure you're getting all his fun stuff. I'm Mo Dakil, former video coordinator with the Clippers, Spurs, Team Australia. Write for Bleacher Report. Do videos for Offside. I'm going to be on NBA TV on Sunday on the weekend edition of the association. Just make sure you're checking out all our stuff. Follow us on all the socials, all that fun stuff, and then make sure you're subscribed to this great wonderful podcast, the Double Dribble Podcast. Wherever you go to listen to podcasts, rate, review, subscribe. Check us out on YouTube. Jared's going to give you the name whenever I let him actually speak. But make sure you're checking all that stuff out. We do appreciate all the support. Leave comments. Leave comments. You disagree with us? Be respectful in your disagreement, but you can go ahead and leave a comment, and have fun with that stuff. So, give us a little bit of love. Jared, how you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. And yeah, as long as you leave a 5-star review, you can disagree with us as much as you want. And Mo wants you to be respectful. I don't care if you're respectful. Just leave the review. We've also
No, I don't need to be angry anymore. I don't need a comment to make me angry. Don't do that. Be respectful.
There's plenty to be angry about elsewhere these days. It's youtube.com/@doubledribblepod. Subscribe on all of your devices, on all of your parents, brothers, mothers, sisters, boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever else you got there. Sneaky links, all of their devices, and leave us those 5-star reviews as well. We're trying to get to 5 million or 500 and then 5 million. We're closer to one of those than the other. I'll let you figure out which is which. And then for Last Night in Basketball, real quick, I'm 15 subscribers away from hitting my end of the year goal, 15 paid subscribers. So if you want to head over there and subscribe, lastnightinbasketball.com/subscribe, I would really appreciate that as well. But we got plenty to talk about here.
Yeah, make sure you're a subscriber, please, folks. Let's get that. Come on, 15 of you. Let's go. Let's hit that subscribe number. Let's hit that goal right now. We're going to be checking in on that number every time we do the podcast now. Jared, I'm going to be like asking what the number is. So
I don't want
be
to
on
be
top of
sad
that.
when I don't get there.
You're going to get there. We're going to get you there. The Double Dribble Podcast group, there's dozens of us. We're going to get you to the 15 dozens. There's going to be we're going to get you to the 15 subscribers so you hit your end of the year goal. We're going to talk basketball in just a second, but one more quick side note. I know we've gotten at least one or two people reaching out about helping us with music. Again, if you want to help us out, please hit us up. We'll try to see what we can do. We can't promise anything, guys, other than we'll just play the podcast and give you credit and a shout out on the podcast. And then we'll go from there. We just need some 15 seconds because Nintendo didn't like what I did with the Double Dribble video game.
Yeah, there were a couple people that reached out in the comments of the last podcast. I left my email address in there if you want to check that out. If you left those comments and haven't seen it yet, I put my email in there. And for other people that want to help out, my email is in all of my social media bios. I'm not necessarily going to announce it here, but you can go check it out there, and you can send me an email with any sort of clip you want to use, and me and Mo will check that out, and we'll hopefully have some intro music by next week's podcast. That would be great.
That'd be amazing. It'd be a nice little Hanukkah, Christmas, early Eid gift for us and the podcast and everybody else.
You want to do.
And whatever you want to do. All right, folks. Let's get into basketball, Jared.
Yeah, let's unfortunately talk about what's not happening in basketball, which is a lot of guys are not playing right now because there is an injury crisis in the NBA. I saw this tweet from Underdog NBA yesterday, which was notable players out with injury. And I want to note that this tweet didn't even include Jalen Brunson and Bam Adebayo, who are both out. And it didn't include other guys who have been out for there's no Max Strus on here who's been out for the whole year, but it was just a list of guys who are either out right now or have been out for the entire season so far, which is Giannis Antetokounmpo, Victor Wembanyama, Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard, Joel Embiid, Zion Williamson, Trae Young, John Morant, Jalen Williams, Paolo Banchero, Darius Garland, Jalen Green, Brandon Miller, Cam Thomas, Tyler Hero, OG Anunoby, Jaden Ivey, Christian Brown, Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, Aaron Nesmith, Kelly Oubre, Bradley Beal, Jordan Poole, Keegan Murray, Walker Kessler, Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton, Kyrie Irving, Damian Lillard, Fred VanVleet, DeJounte Murray. And again, that doesn't include Bam Adebayo, Jalen Brunson, and then the guys that like Max Strus and those the likes of him that are on shorter term injuries or have been out for the entire season. I mean, that is an insane number of players. Steve Kerr was asked about it yesterday. We're recording this on Wednesday. He was asked about it on Tuesday, and he attributed at least part to the increase in pace and the compression of the schedule and things like that. And I ran some numbers on this. You can go look at Last Night in Basketball. I ran some numbers on, the pace and the amount of miles that guys are traveling per game and the speed that they're playing at. And I mean the increase in miles per game that they're running, it's like over 2 more miles per game since the start of the player tracking era to now, and about 0.2 of a mile per hour faster that players are moving on average between the start of the player tracking era and now. That's a lot. Like, it's not insignificant, and I do think it's a contributing factor, and it has to be taken seriously. I wrote about Bodie. You want to come up? I see you there. Come on. There he is, joining the podcast as usual, bumping up his head against the microphone. But those of you on YouTube can see the microphone moving because his head keeps hitting into it, and there now you see his head in the corner a little bit.
There we go.
We cannot resist a podcast. But yeah, I wrote a little bit about this morning at last9basketball.com. Before I get into some of the solutions I proposed other than shortening the season, Mo, I know your big solution and my big solution is shortening the season. So I feel like we should talk about that at least a little bit before we get into some of the other stuff.
I wanna like the biggest thing, and I totally get it, is whenever we talk shortening the season is everybody's got to take a pay cut.
Yeah.
And part of me doesn't feel that way. And listen, the person who's got to take the pay cut is actually the owner. Because I think with my proposal is a 72 game season, which isn't a drastic change, but I think you take 10 games off the schedule. And the way I do it is you don't play, right now the way it's set up is you play everybody in your division 4 times. Mm. You play some teams in the Western Conference 4 times, other teams 3 times, and then you play the East 2 times. Okay? And obviously this will change over time as expansion, if it ever comes in and numbers will have to be different with that. You could tweak these things. But you can still spread out the season, and where most of the money comes from for the NBA is their TV deal. You can do that without losing a single national TV game. You could spread it out. You'll have more teams get more coverage instead of, as Bodie just completely knocks the camera and the mic off for folks that are listening. And we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going till Jared's going. This is perfect. You guys know I like to talk. What you're looking for is this. My sense is you can do this, and then you'll have certain teams. You'll have more teams show up on national TV more often than we've ever gotten, and I think that's a good thing for the league. I actually think that expands things there. So yeah, 72 games. For me, I think the 5 games each owner would lose at home is money lost. I still think you could pay everybody the same. I really do. Like, I think it's just greed. I think we just simply say we just assume everybody has to take a pay cut. I'm like, nah, the billionaires should take the pay cut. Like, that's where I'm at. Like, that's the guys who should just take a little bit less money off the top. And that will open everything up. I really hope Jared's mic's working right now.
Yeah, I can't attach the microphone back to the microphone holder because something snapped off, so I'm just going to have to hold it. I'm assuming this is working right now and you can hear me.
I can hear you. Are you sure it's connected? Keep all of this in, Jared, when you produce. Is it connected? Because you do sound a little bit different.
It is not connected. I can't switch mics while I'm recording, apparently.
Okay, folks, we're gonna do what we used to do when we would do this on Zoom. Jared, stop the podcast and we'll pick it up right where we left off. And we're back. Hopefully you can hear me better now than you did before. Much better. Thanks very much to my dog Bodie for doing that for us. That was wonderful. I honestly don't even remember what I was talking about. So this is going to be real good radio. Well, this is we're I went on my run of why I think we can actually shorten the schedule. You were
Right.
going to give your solutions beyond shortening the schedule because I do understand mine is very pie in the sky. It's just very annoying that we have a very obvious answer that we're just not going to, you know, actually like go to.
Yeah, we do have a very obvious answer, but your solution involves billionaires freely giving up money and nobody
Oh
else
yeah, yeah.
doing it. So I would say that the likelihood of that happening is
Never going
substantially,
to happen.
it's extremely low. And look, the players don't want to do it either. There was an athletic poll last year, 86% of the players said no. So they're not going to want to do it. The owners aren't going to want to do it, and the TV partners aren't going to want to do it. So it's not going to happen. So I wrote about a few different things that I think could help on the court. The first of those is using longer rotations. Last year, there were only 7 teams that played 10 players or more, 9 players or more, 10 plus minutes per game. The year before, there were 10 of those teams. So far this year, there are 20, but that's because it's early in the season and significantly more players are qualified for the minutes per game leaderboard. The number is going to come substantially down, or significantly down, sorry, by the end of the year. But maybe it shouldn't. Maybe there should be, 20 teams playing 9 or more guys, 10 plus minutes per game. If you can reduce the minute load for star guys from 36 minutes a night to 32 minutes a night, that's like a 12% decrease in the number of minutes that they're playing, and that's not nothing. I think it's worth exploring, just trying to get more guys on the court for more time. There's plenty of talent in the league to be able to do that, and there are teams that should be able to lengthen their rotation a little bit. There are teams that do that. The Thunder, the Pacers, the Spurs are doing it a little bit this year. They're one of the teams I think that has 11 guys averaging 10 plus minutes per game. But again, that's because the Celtics are doing that too. But again, that's because so many more players are qualified for the minutes per game leaderboard so far. You only have to have played a certain number of games to do that. And it's obviously harder to do that by the end of the year. The next one is using players in shorter stints for their rotations. Like, instead of playing 9 consecutive minutes or 12 consecutive minutes when you're on the court, play 6 minutes and then sit out for a few minutes and then come back in and then sit out again. Like, shorter rotation stints with more rests per half, I think is a solution. Not necessarily a solution, but something that could work. So you're not exerting as much energy across a long stint, and so you're not as tired when you're out there. Like, when you're at the end of a 12-minute stint, you're probably significantly more likely to get injured than when you're at the end of a 6-minute stint. Like, that's just logical.
That's science. That's science. That's science. That's actually science. But
If you're
I have
exerting more energy for more time, you're more susceptible to injury than you are if you're doing it for less time. You can also probably play harder during your 6-minute stint, like the Knicks are doing with Mitchell Robinson, where he's playing 3-4 minutes a time and going all out and not playing 7, 8, 10-minute shifts. You see what he looks like when he's out there for those shorter bursts. You could do the same thing with star players. Like, if it was good enough for Dirk Nowitzki to play 6 minutes, sit for 3 minutes, play 6 minutes again, sit for 3 minutes, and then play 6 minutes again, it should be good enough for the other stars. This is something that we talked about with John Morant, where he didn't like that with what Tomas Isolo is doing in Memphis, because he's used to playing those longer stints when he's out there. And guys really do like playing those longer stints, like 8, 10, 12 minutes, because they think it helps them get in a rhythm. And I'm sure it does, but is the rhythm worth the exposure to injury? If you get guys more willing to play those shorter stints and take multiple rests per half, you might find them available for more games. And then my other thing was more zone defense. You just don't have to cover as much of the court when you're only responsible for a certain area. You don't have to like chase Steph Curry from one side of the court to the other 6 different times in the same possession. And teams slow down when you play zone defense against them, because they might just start passing the ball around the perimeter because they're not quite as used to playing against zones. That would change if more teams started playing zone. More teams would practice zone offense, and they would be more used to playing. And they would be crisper and faster, frankly, against zones than they are right now. But for now, I think it's probably a worthy changeup. I think teams have probably considered all this, obviously, and either decided that it's not worth it, or that they don't know that it would be worth the trade-off wins and losses wise. Maybe they just can't convince players to do it yet. But I think all of these things are at least worth exploring.
So I'm with you on one and a half of these ideas.
All right.
Okay. So I'm with you on expand your rotation as a team, but that will require teams to actually focus on development, be more locked in that stuff, and be more willing to give some younger players time and on the court and whatnot. And also, some of it might result in some losses. Now, for coaches, that's incredibly tough because we judge coaches on wins and losses. They lose their jobs if they lose some of these games. But again, if your star player gets hurt, you're gonna probably lose your job anyway. So there's that side of it. I'm going to push back on the minutes and play guys less minutes or shorter stints and whatnot. Only because every player is so different. And I've known players that have, hey, I want to go a full 12 minutes because it's hard for me to go 6 minutes, then sit on the bench for a couple of minutes, and then jump back in and get going in the, whatever give me a 3 minute break and I go in the last 3 minutes of the court. Like some players, that's perfect. Other guys need it. This is actually why when we complain that coaches don't stagger players, and I'm one of the big complainers, I do understand it. Sometimes it's not the coaches that are saying that don't want to stagger. They'd love to stagger the guy, except he has the way he wants to play, and I don't want to disrupt his rhythm and flow because that matters so much. So I think that's a very difficult ask.
Yeah, you got to be able to sell it, and a lot of guys
yeah,
don't buy it.
but it's not even. But it's
with Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. I think we talked about it last week, where they just both wanted to play the entire
right
year because that's how they felt they were at their best. And it's really hard to get players to change that. It's really hard. Really hard.
But even then, of it being like you got to sell it, and it's for some guys, it's just how they are. Like I would be annoyed if I switched a player to that, and we did it the whole season. And if I looked and I go like, damn, dude, like his numbers were actually pretty bad when we put him back in. For that 3 minute stint. Like there's a genuine like the idea is sound. I think the doing it is the challenge in that area. Zone will be good. I think there's an element though within zone. It does force you to have to rebound harder, work harder on rebounding and things like that. Work for some. Yeah, bring Bodie back up. Come on, don't just let him know he's okay. He's not in trouble. We love him on the pod. If he wants to knock other things off. You got to remember when I used to do the show, used to do Nerder She Wrote with Seth and Dave, I always wanted the cat to attack Seth. So I was always rooting for that because like the cat would just like walk in Seth's camera view all the time, and I'd be trying to encourage the cat to attack him. And it happened on like our last show, and I lost it. But anyways, this got sidetracked. Zone can be hard in that sense. You're right. You're covering less area and whatnot, but zone can be difficult. But this also just goes back to the point. This is just something where it's like, this is why I get annoyed with the older generation for the most part complaining about the current iteration of the NBA. The game is harder now. It's just flat out. You have the numbers. They're running 2 miles more, per game, and it's faster pace. We're asking centers to go from guarding the pick and roll to in a drop situation to shoot out to contest the three in the corner or run a guy off a 3-point line, run a guard off a 3-point line. We have centers that are basically guards now. Like it's the game has changed drastically where we never asked. I'm trying, and I'm gonna be unfair because I'm piggybacking. I'm cherry picking here a little bit, but like we weren't asking Greg Ostertag to get out and close to the corner regularly. Like that wasn't a normal rotation for Greg Ostertag, right? Did I cheat? Yes, I did. But any center, really, for the most part, in the '90s, we weren't asking Patrick Ewing to get out, to switch and give you 6-7 seconds on a guard, right? Like a fast, shifty guard. Like if that happened, that was a rarity, right? And that was like a oh shit moment for teams. So it's like now it's expected. Now we look at guys coming in the league. Can you guard in space? Can you do this? Can you do it's all based on the fact that the game is very different now, which is fine. And it's not, and me saying that is not shitting on what happened in the 90s. Like that, I grew up on that basketball. It's just evolved. And you know what's going to happen in 10, 15 years, maybe even faster? The game's going to evolve again. It's the way life works. It's um uh uh the gosh, I forgot his. I can't even. Goldblum, Jeff Goldblum saying, Ian Malcolm, Mother Nature finds a way. The game's going to evolve again, but it's like so. There's going to be, and it might even get freaking faster for all we know.
Yeah. You just have to cover much more of the court, and you have to make a lot of unnatural movements multiple times in quick succession on the same possession. Like specifically defensively, there's just so much more to do, and it's hard. It might just be a reality of the game, and there's no way to fix it other than reducing the amount of wear and tear, which again comes back to shortening the schedule, which is never going to happen. But we do have actual basketball that we want to talk about, though, right? Like,
let's actually we're sorry, folks. We've gone a long way of stuff. Let's get to the actual basketball, and I think let's just start with the hottest team in the Eastern Conference, and it's the freaking Detroit Pistons.
Hottest team in the NBA. They've won 11 games in a row.
Yeah, no, Oklahoma City's to me always going to be the hottest team in the NBA right now.
That's true. Yeah, Oklahoma City is like on a different level. Like it's almost like you don't even count them because they just beat everybody by 15 every night. The Pistons, they look good, man. They won a couple of these games without Jalen Duren. They won 3 of them without Cade Cunningham. They won 2 of them without both of those guys. Duren looks incredible. He's averaging like 20 and 11 in 29 minutes a night. If you look at like the per 36 numbers, it's like 25 and 15 or something along those lines. He's averaging 9 free throws per 36 minutes, getting to the line basically at will. He has like a 60% free throw rate.
It's absurd.
His usage rate is up over the league average mark for the first time in his career. He's at like 23.5%. This is a guy who bet on himself coming into the season and absolutely made the correct bet. He looks incredible, creating off the dribble at times too. There were a couple times last night against the Hawks, who we'll talk about in a little bit too, where he just gets these early seals in transition and just puts guys under the rim. Cade Cunningham in that Hawks game last night looked awesome. Comes back and has, I think, 25 and 10, including 2 of the toughest baskets that you'll see a player make. I mean, Dennis Jenkins comes in and is just like awesome from out of nowhere. A guy I legitimately hadn't heard of, and is just like making a game-tying 3 to send the game into overtime against the Wizards on a broken play.
It was a tough shot too.
Comes out, really tough shot from the corner, and like his heel was levitating over the out-of-bounds line so that he was just in bounds.
Sean Elliott it.
Yeah, they were doing it. Some of it without Asar Thompson too. By the way, I forgot to mention him. Tobias Harris has been out for a while. Beef Stew looks awesome. Just blocking everything in sight, getting every rebound in sight, hitting threes. Like, this team just looks really, really good on both sides of the floor. And, yeah, I mean, are they going to be, 13-2 or whatever they are and play at that level the rest of the season? Obviously not. But I see no reason why they can't, compete for, one of the top seeds in the East at this point.
Well, they're putting themselves in a good position. Right? Like, I know it's really early to say this, but they're 3 games up on Cleveland for the 1 seed, but they're beginning to create separation in that stuff. And sometimes stacking wins early on really matter, right? And I think that kind of sort of puts you in that position. We saw it with Cleveland last year with the start they had, right? And I don't think they're as good as that Cleveland team, but they're put themselves in a position where, hey, we can kind of create a cushion for that stuff. I think the beauty of this team is that they didn't fall into the regression that I thought might happen, right? And it wasn't even about talent, just more like you have a great season the previous year. You surprised everybody last year. Everybody's kind of expecting you to be good this year. And a lot of times we see it from teams, and I'm going to mention this a lot if you've listened to me before, they regress kind of more to the kind of like a little bit, they fall to earth a little bit. No, they're saying, no. That's our standard. And I think that's an important thing there. And Duren taking, I'm going to have an article for Bleacher Report coming out soon in the next few days. And Duren taking like an all-star leap, because that's what he looks like right now. He looks like he should be a freaking all-star. And I think that's an important distinction there. And I think he's kind of taking that leap to that level. And you see, listen, Cade's freaking great, man. K just takes over games. And there are nights. What game was it where he had like 40 something shots? Like he missed like 30 shots or something like that. And people were killing him for that. I go like, yo,
Everybody
everybody
was
was.
out.
That's what I'm
Everybody
saying.
was out in that game.
Everybody was out. And I think that was a massive situation there. And like he will step up and take control. You will see him take over games over and over again. Like I'm blown away with this team. I'm impressed with them. Obviously 11 straight wins. Like that's like goddamn, man. That's hard.
They haven't had Jaden Ivey yet either, by the way. Duncan Robinson making every shot. Like, that looks like it's going to have turned out to be a good move. Yeah, Asar was playing well before he got hurt. He came back last night. He came off the bench just to sort of work him back into the rotation a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, it looks like a good team on both ends of the court. I think they were, like, third in defensive rating the last time I checked. I could be misremembering that, but I'm going to go look it up now.
Yeah, they've been
they're
like
second in defense right now. 6 points per 100 possessions behind the Thunder, but
that's
a full point ahead of the Spurs. So, yeah.
The other number I like. They're 9-1 in clutch games. Now, granted, they're playing a lot of close games, right?
Nine.
Nine.
But the thing is, like, also, even if they regress in close games, which teams generally do, like you're generally going to go towards 500 in the longer term, you get to bank those clutch wins. You don't have to give them back. They're 13-2. If they go 500 the rest of the season, they're going to win 46 games.
Right, and that's a great run, and it's just impressive. Like they've just been impressive. You got to give JB Bickerstaff a ton of credit for what he's done as with him and his staff have done to kind of keep this team going along that way and pushing them so that they don't hit that regression, that sort of falls these young teams when they shoot up. I'm excited, man. I'm excited to watch the Pistons. I want to ask you this question because we're gonna do this. This is gonna be Is there somebody out there you think they should go after in the trade market? I mean, is a Lauri Markkanen?
Yeah.
Like
if you turn the Tobias Harris spot into Lauri Markkanen.
We're talking like contender.
Yeah, why not?
Right.
That's the guy. It makes sense.
I'd be calling Utah like 4 times a day.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you can call Utah as much as you want. Danny Ainge is going to set his price, and it's not going to move.
Yeah, well, I'll keep calling though. We'll keep just wear you down, Danny. Just wear you down. I think that's kind of if they wanted to, but they have the ability to make a move if they want to. Is I think an important thing to kind of look at, and part of us can look at it going like they're 11-2, man. Why would you? Why would you even risk changing any sort of chemistry and stuff like that? If it's a clear upgrade, I think you got to do it. If it's a guy like Markkanen, I think you got to do it. And this is just like everybody's throwing Markkanen into the Pistons, right? Like, but this is just a straight up rumor. We have no idea what Detroit's looking to do.
Basically, everyone
wants
to see it happen.
Pretty much. That's pretty much what we want to do. Let's talk about the team they beat last night in another close game. But like the Atlanta Hawks, without Trae Young, have been really good, like surprisingly good.
Yeah, they're 7-3 without Trae, and that's including that loss to the Pistons last night. They've done some of this without Kristaps Porzingis. There were a couple games in there, I think, without Jalen Johnson, without Nickeil Alexander-Walker. It's just a good team, and like, I don't know that I would say they're better without Trae Young, but they're not worse. And that brings up some interesting conversations.
I mean, it creates, and I want to credit Zach Lowe because he's the one that's kind of been beating the drum on this. It really kind of puts the situation of what are we going to be, what do we want to be next season? Do we commit to Trae Young with a massive contract, or do we stay with what we have and find a way to kind of just work around the margins? The one thing I want to see more of, because I think it did hurt them last night, not having Trae Young. They had like 4 or 5 straight empty possessions on offense, where it felt like they didn't know what they were going to do. And this is with Jalen Johnson out there. This is with, this is late fourth quarter possessions. And it was like they looked stagnant. There were possessions where the ball never got inside the 3-point line, stayed just on the strong side. Like in a game that you lose basically down the stretch, it's those 4 possessions cost you the game. And I'm not saying you would have scored on them, but if you had better offense, would have been interesting. So I think there's a little bit of like, we probably could have had, a better situation offensively if we had Trae. But then the question you have to ask yourself, because you know what's coming, that unbelievable draft pick from New Orleans, like, is our future star going to be, coming from that draft, depending where that pick lands? I'm very curious to see where they go from here. It's a very interesting situation, but this team is tough. Jalen Johnson's been great. Nikhil Alexander Walker's been awesome. I like when Kennard comes in and helps them. He's been pretty solid. SC alum Onyeka Okongwu, he's been really big for them, especially with the Porzingis kind of in and out of the lineup, mostly out more often than not. I think they've been pretty solid. Mo Gay has been good. Like they got a lot of talent across Dyson Daniels. So it took me so long to say his name. Like they got a lot of guys that I'm kind of excited about.
I was hoping you were going to mention Mo Gay. I'm glad you eventually got there. Nikhil is not shooting great from 3, but he's shooting really well from 2. And he's averaging like 17 points a game and like 3 rebounds, 4 assists or something along those lines. He and Dyson Daniels are sort of handling the ball handling responsibility with Trae out. They're still playing Keaton Wallace out there sometimes, and it drives me nuts when they have lineups without Nikhil and Dyson Daniels. Like I feel like one of those guys should always be on the court, even if you have Wallace out there, just for the perimeter defense, and then for the additional ball handling that you're always going to have. But it's just a good team. I love Mo Gay. He is so much fun to watch. Just like
all Mo's are great. All Mo's are great. Just remember that.
Yeah. I think he's Mohammed with an E though, and not with
that's fine. We have to differentiate so the mail doesn't go all to the same place, Jared. That's why we have 75 different ways to spell the name.
That's true. Okongwu's shooting really well the last few games without Porzingis. The first play of the game, they ran like a double pin down for Okongwu to shoot a 3 on the wing, and it went in. And I was going to say about the Pistons game, like, they just as much lost that game by going down 17 points in the first half as not being able to execute in the clutch. But
yeah, I mean, for sure,
man, it's a really good fun team.
And you know what the thing I really liked about it, and this is it was in Atlanta, and it feels like the city's rocking with this team too. Like I like when the Hawks are good because I like watching. I don't like the Peachtree uniform and color scheme it looks bad on the TV in my view of it. It just comes off weird. But I like that the fans are rocking with the team. Like there's like excitement there a little bit, and I kind of enjoy that with what we're getting. So I feel like the city is getting behind them as well.
You don't often hear like you hear all the time like the league is better when the Knicks are good or the league is better when the Lakers are good. You don't often hear the league is better when the Hawks are good. So I'm glad to be the first podcast to talk about that.
Well, I just think the league's better when everybody's good. So but it's we've watched many games, dude. Like we've watched so many games where there's just no juice in the crowd. And I think like that's more my complaint. It has nothing to do too much with basketball, but like
specifically a lot of Hawks games over the years where it's just been kind of juiceless.
Yeah. And I think
on the Peachtree stuff, like I don't like when it's like a nickname on the front of the jersey where it's like Peachtree or the land or the town. Mm-hmm. I don't like those jerseys.
I don't. It just doesn't work for me. We can go like 12 hours with my complaints on things like that, and I'll definitely sound like a boomer. What we do want to talk a little bit about the Raptors, because that's a team who, like, I've been pretty impressed with as well. I had low expectations for them. I was like, this offense isn't going to work. What are you going to do offensively? How are you going to kind of put this all together. These are all guys that need the ball in their hands. Um, Shout out a guy who I'm not even a big fan of, but Emmanuel quickly is doing a great job running offense, getting them into stuff, playmaking a little bit. I think overall they're playing so well offensively. They move the ball, but they move not just in transition, but in the half court, cutting movement. There's constant. We're running this action here and this action at the same time on the weak side. Where the play, they're hard to deal with defensively in that sense. Like I'm kind of enjoying watching this Raptor team. And then off the bench, I'm a Jamal Shed fan. I'm in. Sign me up. I'm in. I like Mamu, and it's not just because I get to say the name Mamu, but I think he's really an underrated signing, and I think that was a nice pickup for them. Like shout out to they've built a pretty damn good team.
I can't remember who I was watching them play, but I remember the entire game. The announcers just called him Mamu because no one wants to say Sandro Mamukelashvili.
Yeah. Well, if you want a funny thing, I did something for the NBA last year that never aired, but we had to like do these, like highlights. And so the game they gave me was a Spurs game where Mamu had 34 points. And I turned to them, I go like, okay, just so you guys know, I'm only saying his full name one time.
Yeah.
And then it's Mamu the rest of the way.
Yeah. I mean, look, they're ninth in offensive rating so far. And that is shocking to me. And I was a little bit higher on them coming into the season than you were, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But I still had massive concerns about how the offense was going to work. I don't really understand how it's working. And like,
well, I'll tell you what it is. They're actually like, it seems like they've bought in.
yeah, they run stuff and they get through every part of the action and pursue the best shot, which is not something that you can say about a lot of teams. Like you'll see a lot of lazy action, but when they cut, and it's fast. When they drive, and it's fast. And there are guys moving to the right spot off of those drives. Brandon Ingram is hitting every single mid-range shot. He's not shooting well from three, but every mid-range shot that he takes, RJ Barrett, when he drives to his left hand, gets to where he wants to go every single time. Quickly was terrible for the first 5 games of the season, but since then he's shooting like 40% from three. Like you said, running the offense really well. Jakob Poeltl was out for a while, but he came back. He looks good. Kyle Murray-Boyles, the rookie I like, coming off the bench.
I like him.
What's that?
I like Colin Murray Boyles.
Yeah.
I think he's got some stuff.
Like the first game I watched this year, I was like, all right, I'm interested in that. Like there are a bunch of different things that he can do. Mamu, like we talked about, he can shoot, he can pass for a big man. Just a really nice player. There are some interesting things here. I still worry a little bit about the shooting. Like if Ingram's not going to make any threes at all, that's going to be a problem at some point. Scotty Barnes, though, is shooting over 40% from three. Quickly shooting like 38% from three. Jamal Shed coming off the bench, shooting over 40% from three. Mamu, 45% from three so far. Grady Dick not even really making his shots yet, shooting like 36% from three. Shed must be so annoying to play against, by the way. Like,
oh, God. That's why I love him. He's just a bulldog, man. Somebody had tweeted it out. I apologize because I just saw it in passing, and I was like, yeah. They go like, he gets so mad when the guy he's guarding scores on him. Like, he gets so mad. And it's like, I was like, I love that about him. Let's go. This is a fun team to watch. But it's also like, my concern going in was like, this is going to be a very ISO heavy offense. This isn't going to be a lot of fun to watch. They're flying up the court. They're moving the ball in the half court. They've bought in. And then when they got to go to ISO at the end of the clock, Ingram can produce for you. Scotty Barnes can produce for you, especially he's getting better with his mid-range attack. And then they defend their asses off. You go watch that Charlotte game, they come up with big blocks at the end of the game, that pretty much sealed it. This was always I'm going to venture into another nerder thing. This was always my complaint about Seth and Dave loving the Elam ending. Is like, that means we can't end on a defensive play. They ended with a monster block.
Two of them.
Barnes
and then Ingram.
Right. And to end the game sealing blocks. And I loved every bit of that. And I thought that was absolutely phenomenal. So I just wanted to take another victory lap on winning the Elam ending argument because I cooked Seth on that one there. Enemy of the podcast. But yeah, like I think I just like this team. I think they're a top 6 team in the East with how things are shaking out. Obviously, it's a long way to go, but they can fight for an outright playoff berth instead of a play-in spot, and I had them as a play-in team to start the year. Like they're changing my projection there a little bit on them.
With the way the rest of the East is shaking out, like there are so many teams, or not so many teams, but like I thought the Pacers, if they stayed healthy, could compete to be a play-in team. That's obviously not happening anymore. The bottom of the East with the Wizards and the Nets is just an absolute disaster. I don't think the Hornets are very good. Like you're already eliminating all of these teams that you don't need to be better than because you're already so much clearly better than those teams.
I mean, also Orlando started out pretty bad, not the way we wanted. Chicago's kind of come back down to earth. Miami's what we kind of thought they were. Atlanta's a little bit better than we thought. Philly's a little bit better, I think, than we thought. But it's Toronto's right there, man. Like I like where they're at. I like the way they're playing offensively. I'm like, here's the thing, and this is something I haven't been able to say for a while. I'm excited to watch Toronto Raptor games.
Yeah, and this is a team that we talked about over the summer as like completely rudderless, and we just didn't know what on earth they were doing, and it's working out a lot better than either one of us thought they did.
I think we owe them an apology. We're sorry. I'm not sorry about my Dodgers beating the Blue Jays, but I'm sorry about my projection for the. I just did a radio hit for Toronto, like literally right before we podcasted, and I definitely gave it to them there too. I'm so annoying. All right, I think that's it for basketball talk, and now let's go to everybody's favorite segment. Jared and I talking about college football. Jared, take it away, man. Miami is the playoff committee met last night. Miami is 13th in a 12 team race where the guy came out and said, when asked, how do you compare Miami and Notre Dame? And the guy flat out said they're not in the same tier. Pointed out that Miami's losses are worse than Notre Dame's losses. And Notre Dame.
Who did Notre Dame lose to?
I believe Texas A&M and Miami.
Notre Dame is getting more credit for losing to Miami than Miami is getting for beating Notre Dame, according to the way that this guy was talking about it on TV last night. I was like, I thought my head was going to fly off its axis when I heard that quote. Unbelievable. Like,
I owe you an apology. I owe you and the University of Miami an apology. We could have ended all this with SC taking the win. We could have really we fucked up that game. All right, yeah. I'm sorry.
Pitt also came out and just got absolutely blasted by Notre Dame this week because the coach came out and said the game doesn't matter to our season.
Yeah, like when your coach says that, it's like get out of here.
Yeah, but kick rocks. NC State last week absolutely demolished them. C.J. Bailey was actually like one of the better quarterbacks in the country. Just did absolutely nothing. They averaged 2 yards a carry. Their best running back had negative yards against us because our defense is just that good. Malachi Toney, again, 5 catches, 50-something yards, 2 touchdowns, threw a 41-yard pass, almost threw a touchdown pass on like a little pop pass to our running back, but he overthrew it by like a yard. Gerard Pringle comes in, who was our 4th-string running back to start the season, runs for over 100 yards, looks absolutely incredible. And then just Ruben Day and Akeem Mesidor. We got Virginia Tech in Virginia Tech this week. If we beat them again, like we've been beating teams the last couple of weeks, we should move up. But this Notre Dame thing, like, it's unbelievable that this guy, like, oh, we can't compare Miami and Notre Dame because they're not in the same pod. And it's like it's so clear that they're ranking Utah ahead of us just so they don't have to make that comparison. Like, Utah got absolutely blown off the field by, what was it, Texas Tech? Like,
yeah.
They lost by more points in that game than all 5 of our losses over the last 2 seasons combined. And somehow that's a better loss than our losses by a combined 9 points to teams that are 27th and 30th in the rankings when you look at the points. And, like, why don't wins matter? It's only the losses that matter somehow this year. When last year it was like, oh, Miami doesn't have enough quality wins on its resume. And that was the reason we got kept out. By the way, Alabama has the worst loss of anybody. They got blown
Right.
out by Florida State. In
Well,
week
no, no.
1.
The
That somehow
SEC,
doesn't matter.
the SEC bias in this stuff is horrendous. Because here's the thing.
Sandy.
Here's the thing that the SEC does, and this is what pisses me off. Right? They talk about how tough it is to beat Florida. Florida's like 3-7. They just fired their coach.
We beat Florida. Texas
Right.
beat Florida. People were talking before the rankings came out like, oh, Texas should still be in with 3 losses. One of them
Get
to
the
Florida.
fuck out of here.
Florida
Get
too.
out of here. Get out of here. And they're going to try to set it up where if they beat Texas A&M at the end of the year, then they're going to try to put Texas in with 3 losses, and it's absolutely ridiculous.
They'll still try to put Alabama in if they lose to Auburn in the Iron Bowl. They'll still try to put Alabama in.
No, it's all that stuff's just for the SEC bias is complete bullshit. And I want to just before we talk about my favorite team, I just want to run through who the SEC plays this week. Right? Texas A&M plays Samford, Georgia plays Charlotte, Auburn plays Mercer, Alabama plays East Illinois, Texas plays Arkansas, Vanderbilt plays Kentucky, South Carolina or fake USC, depending who you want to talk to, plays Central Carolina or Coastal Carolina. I don't know which. It has a C next to it, whatever. Tennessee plays Florida and LSU plays Western Kentucky. Like, really, we're going to talk about that. This is a dog shit schedule week from them. Like, there's not a, like, come on, guys. Don't give me this. It means more. It doesn't mean more. You guys are just playing the game and rigging the system. It's complete bullshit.
And the commissioner is always coming out like, "Oh, the SEC should have 7 teams in the playoffs." Like,
right. I get the commissioner being that. What I don't understand is everybody buying it.
Yeah.
I get that. I want my commissioner to be like the entire Big Ten should be in. Did you see UCLA beat Penn State? They should be in. And Penn State fired their coach. It's a new regime. They should be. I want whatever.
That was another thing. Oregon gets credit for beating Penn State early in the season because they were ranked at the time, but we beat Florida State when they were ranked. We beat USF when they were ranked. We beat Notre Dame, obviously, when they were ranked, and they were ranked higher than us and favored against us in the game. But somehow we don't get credit for those wins.
It's really kind of crazy and frustrating. Okay, let's talk about my team.
Which, before you go, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to
go.
I'm gonna have to root against you in this game against Oregon because it's important for Miami's standing.
Well, I'm sorry, sir. Well, it actually does. Actually, to be honest with you, that would hurt you because then Oregon would have another quality win, which they would use.
Oregon's ahead of us anyway, and I could see the committee being like, "Oh, you know."
No, this is. I'll tell you right now. This is
and have you guys jump us.
This game, this USC Oregon, USC's at Oregon, is a playoff elimination game. But
See, I don't know if it would be for Oregon.
I think it will. I think it will be. I think honestly, if we beat them, I think it will put them in a situation where they might be, because when you talk about it at the end of the day, you said it. They don't have really a quality win. All right? Like their biggest win, hypothetical. And by the way, I'm very nervous about this game. Like I don't feel confident. I'm not like Oregon is a very, very tough place to play. We might be out both our safeties. Like there's a lot of stuff there. Like I think this is going to be a very tough game for us to win. If we were to win, Oregon's biggest win is what, a 4-loss Iowa team?
Or Penn State.
Well,
which is
it's hard to say that when you look at the way Penn State went, right? Like literally the next game. And go on, and continue to slide. Like it's like, I don't know, man. Like I think honestly, I think it's an elimination game for both teams. If we lose, we're completely out.
Yeah,
done. Move on.
Losses, right?
We'd have 3 losses. It doesn't matter, and we're not Texas. You can have 3 losses if you're Texas, apparently. But like, and we're out. Yeah, like I get it. Like I understand it. Like I'm not gonna sit there going like, yeah, we shouldn't have lost to Illinois. I wish we had beaten Notre Dame. This also, by the way, makes a great case for everybody to understand why we probably shouldn't schedule Notre Dame mid-season.
Yeah.
But
nobody should schedule Notre Dame. The wins don't matter.
Honestly, that's the truth. And so, like, that's a massive game. But I do want to talk about our win against Iowa. Because let me tell you, like, people, LA, sunny and 70 almost all the time. We had an atmospheric river come through, which, like, is shout out climate change. It seems to be kind of a thing that happens a couple times a year to us. Yeah, not the best thing. We had 4 days of just pouring rain, pouring rain. And it was like, listen, I'm a season ticket holder. I looked around and I just said, you know what? I don't give a damn. I'm going to the game. Went by myself, met a friend of mine who brought his son. They only made it a half because the kid looked at the dad and said, like, we could watch this on TV. Genius level analysis from the 7-year-old. But we went to the game fully soaked, poncho, whole deal, everything. We go down 21-7. And it was like, fuck, man. I'm going to be sitting here for 2 more hours in the pouring rain, and we're going to lose this game. And you know what happened, Jared? My Trojans turned it on in the second half, man. We just said, let's fucking go to work, baby. We went to work. We held Iowa to just 3 points. We shut them out. Sorry, I mixed it up. Different game. Shut them out in the second half. Basically, I'm just going to say, I'm shocked Mekhi Lemon doesn't get any conversation in the Heisman Trophy race. Forget about, like, the Bolinkonoff.
First receivers off the board in the draft, at least.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But he needs to be talked about, at least in the race. He needs to win the Heisman, but we need to start kind of looking at the what he's putting up, because that dude, unfreaking believable. And we made great play after great play. Our defense stepped up in a big way. We were like half an inch away from losing this game. Iowa had a catch that was like on the 10, but the defender basically carried the receiver out of bounds, and his foot, just like the tiniest bit of his foot, touched the out of bounds line, and thank God for that. But it was a massive win. Yeah. It was a culture win. Like, this is one of those things. I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna, as long as we don't lose to UCLA. And we might lose to Oregon. Like, I'm actually kind of mentally preparing for that. As long as we don't lose to UCLA, like, this was the season that, like, changed everything. I think we'll look back and say this was the season that changed everything for Lincoln Riley. And I had never seen him as fired up as he was on the sideline. And there's a little backstory, because Kirk Ferentz talked a little bit of shit when SE first joined the Big Ten, and talked a little trash about our offense. And I'm telling you right now, Lincoln's response was, I heard that. And then we beat them playing Iowa football at the end of the day. 26-21, the Iowa football score all the way.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm very prepared for Miami to beat Virginia Tech this week, move up to like 11 in the rankings and people being celebrating, and then lose to Pitt in the final week of the season. That's what I'm prepared for.
Don't lose to Pitt. Don't lose to a coach that comes out and says these games don't matter. Like, don't.
Said it didn't matter because the ACC games are the only ones that actually matter.
Yeah, and just don't lose the Pitt. Period. Narduzzi's such a doozy, shall we say? Yeah. Anything else? Anything you want to touch on?
Nah, man. The committee is ridiculous with Notre Dame. That's my final thought for today.
There we go. Jared's final thought there. I'm just gonna leave y'all with a fight on, and thank you for listening to the Double Dribble Podcast.
See y'all.